Oh my goodness, you don't think you're getting away from me. Hi, Roger Pies, how are you?
I'm just fine.
Okay, I hear you were in an accident recently.
Yes, I was. I was in a rental car accident in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Well, what was that like?
Well, it was a very bad accident, but fortunately nobody was really seriously hurt, although the car was totaled.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear you weren't hurt. And what happened with the insurance policy?
Well, that remains to be determined, but we've heard of lots of different things. We're insured by Geico, and Geico has indicated that we may not be covered because the accident was in Canada. On the other hand, we may be covered, but they're not sure. And I asked whether we were covered if we rented in California, and they've said both yes and no. Some people say yes, other people say no. So we don't know whether we're covered when we rent a car or not. It's anyone's guess.
Hi, Sarah.
But Roger.
Yes.
How will I know if I'm covered?
Well, do you have a car insurance policy? Are you covered under a car policy yourself?
Yes, I am.
You are? Who's your insurance company?
State Farm.
State Farm. Well, you could call them and ask, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to rely on what they say because it depends on what's in the policy, and you can't rely on calling up someone and saying, am I covered? Because that person doesn't know what's in your policy and they don't look.
Can you tell me, have you sent them any emails?
Many emails with questions about coverage, but they have not responded to any of those emails as of yet. Although we sent them recently to the chairman of Geico, and we'll see whether or not that produces any response.
So help me understand. What you're saying is that you have a policy with Geico.
I do.
You were in an accident in Canada.
Rental car, yes.
A rental car, and they said that your policy doesn't, they don't know if your policy covers it or not.
They've said both things. It doesn't and it does, and then they've said that there are certain limits that it may cover you, and it may, but it doesn't cover a passenger in the vehicle, and so, you know, it's hard to know whether you're covered or not.
Now, you have two policies, don't you? One in Florida and one in Maryland?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Right.
How did you know that?
I'm married to you.
That's why.
Now, I know they talked to me and they told me that because it was a Florida policy, we weren't covered. So
well,
how does that work?
We might be covered differently under the Maryland policy, but if you call Geico and you say, is there any difference in my coverage under Florida and Maryland? They say, oh no, they're both the same.
So would you have any advice to anybody watching about their insurance and renting?
When you rent a car, it would be helpful for you to have something from your insurance company in writing that says you're covered. And whether they're willing to do that or not, that's what you need, because otherwise you don't know. You can't be sure you're covered.
Uh-huh.
And it could be a fairly major thing to have a car that's damaged extensively or have big medical bills and not be covered by the insurance company.
Now, your brother was riding in the car with you, right?
Yes, he was.
Now, was he covered?
Well, they say no. They say no right now. They haven't. They say no, he's not covered because he wasn't a member of my household. He would have been covered if he had been a minor or a member of my household or a dependent. But although they don't really know him, he is pretty dependent. But he's apparently not covered.
Not depending on that.
But did they said that your credit card would cover it? Is that what they told you?
No, they haven't said anything about credit cards. They haven't said.
Or how about
they've said you might check to see whether or not the credit card company or perhaps even the rental car company may have to cover you.
Well, it sounds very confusing, and it's hard to know.
The people who are most confused is Geico. They're the ones who are most confused. I'm second in line. I'm second most confused.
When did the accident happen?
June 29th.
And what is today?
Today is August the 4th.
And we still don't know whether we're covered or not?
No, we don't.
And you haven't really been able to get a resolution?
No, we've asked several times, but no, we have no resolution yet.
Well, thank you very much for your input.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions anyone may have, especially if they involve Geico, because I'll be coming an expert.
Thank you.